This is a mysterious cave. Nat used a ladder to go down to check, and there were magical patterns carved on the stone walls. Then they pried open a stone, and the two opened the stone, and inside was a mysterious hammer. Nat took out the hammer, and lightning appeared on the hammer surface. Then, a bolt of lightning struck down. The lightning split the hammer red, and it turned out that the hammer could release lightning. Nat was very happy, and Nat wanted to tell his girlfriend Ackerly the news. Ackerly walked over happily. The next second, looking at Ackerly, who fell in front of his eyes, Nat was deeply saddened and completely angry. I saw bursts of lightning flashing across the sky, and Nat seemed to have superpowers. The sniper, in the distance, saw that the situation was wrong, so he quickly fired. But there is an invisible barrier around Nat. Nat threw the hammer into the sky, and saw that the hammer was absorbing the lightning madly, and Nat wanted to kill these people. Just a few days ago, Nat was a bum. A group of people saw Nat and asked Nat, but Nat ignored them and kept walking. The man felt ignored and pushed Nat to the ground. Nat stood up and said to the man,
"If you touch me, you will burn."
But the man felt ashamed of being threatened by the homeless man, so the man grabbed Nat. The next second, Nat was arrested by the police and brought into the police station because of the man's death. Nat at the police station hides in the corner. In order to know the truth, Henry invited Ackerly, a psychologist. Under Ackerly's treatment, Nat told Ackerly that he had superpowers, but Ackerly didn't believe it at all, and Nat began to use superpowers. But Ackerly said the man died of burns. Then, Nat put his hand on the table. Handprints appeared on the table. Ackerly was frightened and asked Nat to stop, but Nat said that he could not stop without blood. Lying on the hospital bed was a little boy, who had just lost his heartbeat. Nat put his hand on the boy's chest, closed his eyes and pressed hard, and the little boy came back to life. Nat has superpowers, not only can manipulate objects, but also summon lightning. But because the superpower has just awakened, Nat can't fully control it yet. In an accident, Nat killed the man, and Nat was arrested by the police. However, because of Ackerly's psychotherapy, Nat's ability is out of control again, and the entire police station is in a state of lightning and thunder. Nat was so scared that he hid under the table, and Ackerly continued to treat Nat, which made Nat calm down. At the same time, a helicopter landed, and those who got off were all people from special agencies. Hathaway injects Nat with a sedative and takes Nat away for research. The police had no choice but to let them take him away. When Nat woke up tied up, his emotions lost control immediately, and his superpowers began to go berserk. I saw lightning flashing across the sky, and the lightning directly hit the helicopter. Everyone in the helicopter lost consciousness. The plane lost control and fell into the sea. Nat melts the handcuffs, escapes the plane, and takes Hathaway with him. After resuscitating Hathaway, Nat escapes. Nat found Ackerly again. Ackerly takes Nat to a log cabin. According to news reports, Nat has become a fugitive and is still wanted. Now the whole town is hunting for Nat. The two prepare to stay away from here, and Ackerly gets a van to flee abroad. When the truck passed a bridge, the bridgehead was full of policemen. In order not to hurt Ackerly, Nat raised his hands in surrender. Ackerly got out of the car, and Ackerly was going to explain the situation to the police. But the police pinned Ackerly to the ground. Nat's emotions spiraled out of control again. The sky was instantly clouded. Countless bolts of lightning gathered together. This scene frightened the people around, and the two policemen were also scared to run away. And Nat continued to control the lightning, but the strong load caused Nat to bleed out nosebleeds and his body began to rupture. Suddenly, Nat passed out. At this time, the dark clouds in the sky dispersed, and all this was seen by Hathaway. Hathaway felt that Nat, who could control lightning, was like Thor. If the belief in Thor discovers Nat, the consequences will be disastrous. So Hathaway had a bold idea. On the other side, Nat, who fainted, was sent to the hospital by Ackerly. The doctor couldn't find the symptoms. When Nat was about to have an MRI, the strong magnetic field made Nat lose control again. After a flash of lightning, the hospital's power system collapsed instantly, killing a little boy during surgery. Nat came to the hospital bed. Nat put his hand on the little boy's chest and pressed hard, and the little boy came back to life. The matter was reported by the media. After hearing about Nat's abilities, people were so excited that they rushed outside the hospital, proclaiming Nat as a new generation of Thor. On the other hand, in order to understand Nat's life experience, Henry found information in the library, which records that Thor's two sons built a farm on the ruins of Asgard, where they waited for the return of the gods, and Nat's super power is also awakened in a farm. Nat may be a descendant of Thor. Henry took Nat to the farm. After some searching, they found a cave in which there was a mysterious stone box. Several people worked together to open the lid, and there was a hammer inside. Nat was attracted by the hammer, and Nat picked up the hammer. At this moment, a bolt of lightning fell from the sky and just struck the hammer. I saw that the hammer was burning red. Excited, Nat crawled to the ground, wanting to tell Ackerley the news. Ackerley walked over happily, but they didn't know that several snipers in the distance had already aimed at them. It turned out that Hathaway had been watching Nat, and Hathaway gave the order to shoot. Nat looked at Ackerley, who fell to the ground, and Nat wailed sadly. Nat lost control again. He stretched out his hand to recall the hammer, and then threw the hammer into the sky, only to see the hammer absorbing lightning madly. Nat caught the hammer and shouted,